What is good, guys? It is Randy here, back for week number 7 of the Pokemon Global Battle League. This week we're taking on, once again, our in-state rival, the South Texas Sableyes, coached by In Vivid Color, aka Josh. Now, of course, if you guys don't know who he is, make sure you guys go check out his channel. Very, very nice guy, very, very cool streamer, very, very cool content creator, of course. Nice things about, you know, the people we face, obviously, and never bad people. So make sure you guys go give him a peek, and for sure make sure you watch his side of the battle, because I'm sure he's gonna have a very interesting thought process, no matter, you know, what the case may be. So of course, last time we faced, which was just 2 weeks ago, and I do apologize about getting week 6 up a little bit late. It's just stuff. I thought I had rendered the video before I left for Dallas, but I didn't. So that was kind of stupid of me. But, you know, we took a pretty bad beating last time we faced 4-0. It was a pretty horrible game. Although I'm pretty sure if I had just made the right play turn 1, it would have been a much closer game. I'm not saying I would have won the game because it was a hard, you know, team to beat. But we definitely would have had a very, very great chance of doing so if we had kept Landorus alive, because he has no ground type on his team, which is incredible to think about. So, of course, we're back again. Rematches are always tough in league matches, and that's not just like a theory. It's the truth, because facing somebody more than once in the same season is always trouble. And I firmly do believe that the advantage is always in the favor of the person who loses the prior meeting. And you know, it's very hard to go about it, especially against his team. His team consists of, in case you guys forgot, is the Mega Heracross, Jirachi, Hydreigon. Of course, I have to face that in the XBL as well, as you guys saw yesterday or whenever I posted it. Nasty, it's nasty, man. It's hard to kill. Toxapex, Cloyster, Porygon 2, Torkoal, Archeops, Tangrowth, and Sylveon. So he's got a pretty filthy like higher up core mons. And then stuff like Sylveon, Tangrowth, and even like Toxapex, like those are so hard to break through. Having the right synergy for that is like so difficult to break through. You know, and if I had a normal team, like a normal-ish team, like a more like standardized draft, it probably wouldn't be so bad. But because of what I drafted, I don't bring hazard control, I don't bring hazards, I don't have standard, like, you know, stuff that regular teams would have. I have a bunch of trick room options, and that's no excuse. You know, like it's still capable of winning games because of how much offense I can deal out. But against this certain typing, it's kind of hard to break through because I have to make reads to make it possible. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's definitely a challenge given the bulk. But if I'm able to play right and get rid of at least one of his walls, or if I get rid of just like one wall, like I said, one wall, then the game opens up. That's the only good thing about facing a team like his, because his walls definitely keep his team intact. But if you knock out one, the foundation collapses. So that's kind of the goal here. We gotta knock out one of them, and we can hopefully have a chance. So I'm not gonna go over the exact like spreads I have. You could probably figure them out if you like were to try hard and think about it. But because there is a chance we might face off again in the playoffs, so I don't want to go too in depth about what I brought. Last time I didn't even do a team builder, but I ended up bringing the same 6 I brought last time, but I just changed up some of the sets slightly to make sure it worked better in my favor. And I felt like the build wasn't perfect for me as a player. So I led the way with Landorus once again. This is the exact same set we brought last time. Thunderbolt, Hidden Power, Focus Blast, and Nasty Plot. MZ fighting to have a nuke against his P2 and pretty much everything on his team that doesn't resist it. And if he brings similar to what he brought last time, he doesn't have great answers to it. It's also just a nice way to hit Jirachi in case I don't want to miss. You know, same with Hydreigon as well. So that's always the case. Of course, Nasty Plot. This set on paper sweeps his draft if he doesn't have a Scarf Cloyster again, because of his lack of speed and his lack of ground types. So I have to keep it around. I can't sack it off in this game. I have to keep it to have a chance. So I definitely got to play very smart with it, and that's kind of the plan. So I mean, that's all there is really to it. It's just a very, very, very good modding against this team. I have to keep it alive. Can't sack it turn 1. So next up, we have Sheila the Spider. Last time I actually ran an Assault Vest set, but this time I ended up going with Soak Toxic. Soak Toxic allows me to Toxic his Toxapex if he's able to stay in. That's the only problem with Soak Toxic, is once I soak his Toxapex, all he has to do is switch, and that's all he has to do. But if he's like not, you know, thinking about it too much, or like he's kind of questioning the play and maybe wants to toxic me first, if I toxic him, that'd be incredible. And if he were to switch out anyway and get his toxic typing back, his poison typing back, it doesn't cure. It actually still does deal damage to his Toxapex. So it'd be cool to get a toxic off on that thing, just to keep it worn down throughout the game. That'd be perfect to have in a situation like this. I do have the Giga Drain on this set because I don't want to give Cloyster a free setup turn ever. Because if we were to go for Shell Smash, Giga Drain does like well over 50%, and that puts it in range of my other Pokemon to deal with it. So that's kind of the thought process behind that. The only problem with this set is that it allows Heracross to indeed get up a sub for free. Of course, you'd probably want to go for Rock Blast, but I mean, realistically, Liquidation isn't the most powerful thing in the world, so he definitely could just go for a substitute predicting a switch. That's the only problem about this set, so I do have to be very careful of how I play it. But other than that, it's a pretty nice mod of toxic stuff like Tangrowth, his Sylveon, even Hydreigon, of course, hopefully catching that Toxapex. So hopefully it does come through. That's only the change I made about it. I got rid of AV, and yeah, so next up we have the Mew running a 3 attacks Roost with an Expert Belt. This Pokemon on paper, if he brings the same thing he brought last time, can beat his entire team if I'm able to break through that Sylveon and kill it. So that's kind of the plan. Of course, Dazzling Gleam Expert Belt is a guaranteed OHKO on max HP Hydreigon. I'm pretty sure even an Assault Vest. I'm not sure, though. Obviously, he could have the Roselia Berry if he wants to take a hit, but I do live 1 Dark Pulse guaranteed anyways, unless he specs. But if he specs, obviously he won't have a berry. So, of course, that's the main goal. It does 2-shot max HP Jirachi as well, which is pretty cool. If you run like Spadef, then obviously it won't 2-shot, but it does a pretty damn good chunk nonetheless. So that's kind of the key behind that. Of course, Psychic hits everything else on the team for neutral damage or super effective damage, so that's pretty good. This Mew set is pretty damn good. If I'm able to play it right, it can also be a late game cleaner or an early game breaker potentially. Probably not, but it's definitely going to be a late game cleaner, especially if I get rid of Sylveon, and that's kind of the only thing I need to get rid of for it to actually do work, as well as maybe fast Scarf threats like Archeops or something, or like a Torkoal sitting around or something. So got to be careful with that. And of course, there's always P2 as well. Got to be worried about that. So next up, we have Kurama, the Alola Ninetales, running Moonblast, Freeze Dry, Foul Play, and Aura Veil. Aura Veil, of course, is always needed on this thing, although sometimes I feel like clicking Aura Veil could be a little too passive at times, despite how bad that sounds. Aura Veil isn't passive, but sometimes I just never had the opportunity to click it because I needed to get off damage. So Moonblast, of course, and this mod actually offensively, and I figured out last game, actually has a pretty damn good matchup against them because he doesn't have great Fairy and Ice resists outside of his Jirachi, the main one. But I do have Foul Play, which is the nice tech for this game. Foul Play actually is a guaranteed 2-shot on any Jirachi that's not running, or that's running some attack investment or a decent amount of attack investment. So if he ends up being max HP, Foul Play does like 41 max, which is a little annoying, but I do think it could be clutch to get it worn down or a surprise kill in case he expects me not to be able to touch it. It does get Dark Pulse, but the only way Dark Pulse would ever do more is on like modest specs or like timid specs. That's the only way it'd ever be able to do more damage in Foul Play. So for this purposes here, I needed to be able to have a way to hit his other Pokemon without switching moves. So excuse me, Foul Play was the play here. I felt it was the right move, so hopefully it does work out in this game. I'm not sure if it will because I'm pretty sure every time Jirachi will come in, it'll be at full health, so I got to be careful with that. So next up, we have Hariyama, the Hariyama. I didn't name my Pokemon this week. I don't know why, I just didn't do it. So running Close Combat, Heavy Slam, Vacuum Wave, and the Earthquake, of course. Again, a great Pokemon on paper. Heracross does Wallet, which is a little annoying and a little scary. It can't really set up subs in front of Close Combat, but if I'm there low in defenses and he knows I have to switch out, it's an easy sub for him. So again, it's one of those things to where I have to play it smart, but it's definitely a good Pokemon because with offensive presence, and then Trick Room would be a beast as well. I opted to go with a Guts Assault Vest set as opposed to Thick Fat because Guts allows me to take advantage of his Toxic Spikes from his Toxapex, or if he sees I'm Assault Vest, he probably knows I'm not going to be Guts. He probably thinks I'm going to be a Thick Fat again. So if he tries to Skull Burn me, that's nice. I'll just get an attack boost. So that's kind of the plan with that. I'd much rather be burned than Toxic, so that's definitely the plan. Hopefully, if I switch into a couple of Scalds, I'll be burned and take that pretty nicely. So I opted to run Earthquake, of course, this time to hit Toxapex, so hopefully that works out. Of course, he's able to give me a burn. I'm able to 2-shot it for sure, so hopefully that does work out. And finally, we have the Cofagrigus, which is my Trick Room set, Relaxed, Shadow Ball, Hidden Power, Knockoff, and Trick Room. Now, of course, this mon is mainly there to check his Cloyster, to check his Jirachi, and of course check his Heracross, which are very, very important to check, considering what they can do to my team offensively. So doesn't really do much besides set up Trick Room. You know, I don't have Nasty Plot, so realistically it doesn't sweep. You know, but it's necessary. I don't want to lose to Scarf Jirachi. I don't want that to happen ever again. I'm really tired of facing Jirachi. But I have to have my ways around it. You know, even if Rodriguez does nothing the whole game, I need it, because I do not, like, I could get beat any other way. Like, he could sweep me with Cloyster, he could sweep me with Heracross, he could sweep me with Sylveon, but I am not gonna let him sweep me with Jirachi ever again. Like, I just won't let it happen. So that's the team. Not too much detail. You know, hidden powers are not revealed. I don't want to reveal the hidden powers just yet, although it could be very much be assumed what they are. But you know, it's a good team. You know, I look forward to this battle, and hopefully it does work out, because, of course, Josh is a beast. His team's a beast, so hopefully it does work out. So let's go ahead, jump out of this PC, and go into our battle video recorder. And I was a little hesitant to show my team, because I really don't want them to see what I'm going to try to bring next time. But, I mean, like, I feel like I could psych him out, too, so hopefully it works out. I don't know. So we see his team is very similar to what we brought last time, except he swapped out Toxapex for Tangrowth. Now, upon looking at it, it made sense, because he wants to have an extra check to Thundurus, because he knows I'm not going to play stupid this time around it. But I felt like he should have swapped Cloyster out for Toxapex. Now, that may have seemed a little bit too weird, because he would have, like, 2 passive Mons, and then, like, only, like, 1 true wall breaker, 2 wall breakers, and Hydreigon and the Heracross. But I guess if he were to run Toxapex, he could probably make room for like a Spec Sylveon, but Wish was probably always his play. So bit of an interesting bring for him for sure. I'm not sure why Cloyster is coming multiple times, but if we ever face again, I know for sure Cloyster is not going to come. You know, but ultimately it's still a scary threat. Like, Shell Smash is definitely a threat, but most of my team, if not all of my team, prevents it from getting a Shell Smash up for 100% free. So that's the only good thing about this thing here. Cloyster is never going to be a threat with Shell Smash. It doesn't matter what I have in the field, it will never be a threat to me. So it's just got to play smart around it. So, you know, the best lead for me on paper was definitely the Mew, because it's able to get off damage on every single Pokemon on his team, bar the Sylveon, and I guess the Tangrowth as well, if it's like AV. So I felt Mew was the safest lead for me. And given how diverse Mew is, he can't ever risk leaving in his Hydreigon, his Jirachi, or even his, like, Heracross. I mean, even, of course, Heracross, but, like, you know, the only Mons that can safely come into on it are the Tangrowth and the Sylveon for sure. But even then, it's a little risky, because Mew can run anything it wants to. So I felt that was the right lead, and let's go ahead and jump into this game. So of course, some win cons, of course, to note. Thundurus is, of course, a huge win con if I'm able to chip that Sylveon away and get up a Nasty Plot. Huge win con. Of course, if Cloyster is Sash or Scarf, I got to be aware of that. So just something to note before we get started into the game. So here, he leads with his Cloyster. I lead with Mew. And here, I felt Shadow Ball was the best play. I don't want Jirachi coming in for free. If he goes Hydreigon, I just go Dazzling Gleam the next turn. So Shadow Ball was a pretty damn safe play for me, as he does go into his Jirachi, which, you know, could be a little bit of a weird play. I definitely probably would have maybe wanted to Tangrowth to fire him, but, you know, he probably assumed that was probably some Scarf variant, or maybe he just wants to go for Volt Switch or something, so it probably wasn't a bad play. I could have been a defensive Rocky Helmet set, or, like, I mean, like a Stealth Rock set too, so don't blame him. So here, he makes a pretty risky play. He goes for the U-turn. So I guess he just expected me not to be running max speed, which is pretty risky, because if I had max speed, or if I was even Scarf, then I would have killed him. So I'm not sure. He made a big risk there, but he definitely knew what he was doing there. I mean, we did see if he was leftovers too, so he wasn't Scarf. So a pretty huge risk on his part, but I guess he expected me to be slower no matter what, which is pretty interesting. So, of course, Hydreigon comes in. I don't want to risk him being Rosella Berry. Don't want to risk him being, you know, any other kind of set. So I do double into my Hariyama as he makes his double into Sylveon, which is a little bit annoying. I don't think he was expecting Hariyama. I'm pretty sure he was just scouting for Dazzling Gleam, so wasn't a big deal. Probably wasn't a Specs variant, so I do go into my Shelob right away as he does go for the Protect, the Scout for the Heavy Slam. So here, I just go for the Liquidation. I don't want a Toxic right now because I don't want Jirachi coming in for free ever. Like, I don't want it to ever get a Wish, so I do end up going for the Liquidation. As you can tell by that damage, he's definitely Fizz Def because I am running a pretty good amount of attack investment. But then again, I'm not running too much investment, so it actually did a pretty damn good chunk. So here, I do end up making a play and going for the Soak because I don't want him to go into Jirachi and pass off that Wish. I want a Toxic Jirachi if he does get Wished passed into. So do go for the Soak as he actually brings in his Heracross, which is pretty interesting. A liquidation to a regular Heracross would have done a crap ton of damage, so I definitely should have tried to go for that. But again, I couldn't let Jirachi, like if it was going to get a Wish passed off to it, I at least wanted to go for Toxic. So that's kind of the reasoning behind that. But if I would have for liquidation, though, Heracross would have taken a pretty decent amount of damage, in regular form, of course. So I do make my switch out here. I mean, I 100% expected him to sub there because he was soaked, and I'm sure he would have expected Toxic, and, you know, he didn't sub there. But then again, he probably did fear my Rock Blast, so that's probably he definitely expected me to fear Rock Blast, so that's why I went for the knockoff play. So it was a good play on his part. So he goes for the sub, and I go for my Trick Room, which is pretty interesting for sure. Stalling out Trick Room is of course his best play. I do go for the Shadow Ball, as he does end up going for his knockoff again. So we've seen sub, knockoff. We can most definitely assume he has the close combat, and then of course the last move he probably has is the Rock Blast to hit my my Bug and my Thundurus, and we do live on 1 HP, which is really damn clutch. So that means I can get off a free Hidden Power Flying to get off some damage on the Heracross, but he does make the right move and go into his Hydreigon. It does relatively like no damage, so with that damage, I'm thinking he's probably going to be Assault Vest. But then again, it's a base 60 type move, so you know it definitely wasn't going to do that much anyway. So do go for the knockoff. The following turn, the knockoff a potential Scarf or an Assault Vest or Roselli Berry, but he does actually go into his Creeper, which is huge because the knocking off that Assault Vest is definitely very, very good for my Thundurus as well as my Ninetales potentially, or even my Mew. So that was a pretty big play for sure. So Return to Slap finally goes down after, you know, toughing it out, getting up Trick Room, and just, you know, scaring out some things. And knocking off that Tangrowth was huge. So that was definitely important for that turn. So here I go into my Alolan Ninetales. You know, if I was a Blizzard spammer, it would have been a really good spam option here to kill it. But my strongest move, unfortunately, only is the Freeze Dry. But I do expect him to go hard into Jirachi. So I do end up going for the Moonblast straight up. I don't want to go for a weaker Freeze Dry, so I go for the Moonblast as he actually makes the switch into his Sylveon, which is a little interesting. But in case I did have Dark Pulse, it probably was always the right play. So Sylveon's sitting at a weird amount of HP. It's definitely close to being killed by Moonblast, but he definitely wants to go for that Wish because Protect really wouldn't do much because Leftovers and Hail is the same thing. So I do go for the Moonblast on his Wish, and by that little sliver of HP, the Hail actually does enough to knock out his Sylveon. So Ninetales technically picking up its first kill against that Sylveon, and that was a huge KO because Sylveon could not pass any more wishes, and this is opening the door for his my Thundurus. So he goes into Jirachi, and at this point, I really wanted to click Foul Play, man. But if he wasn't max attack or not running much attack investment, Foul Play wouldn't have killed, and that would have been huge. So I definitely should have taken the risk anyway because he did go for the Stealth Rock there, and that was huge, man. I was really annoyed that he was able to get that off, but you know, it is what it is. Wish was able to heal him back up to full, and that was, you know, very frustrating. But you know, it is what it is. So here, do go for the Roots, expect him to go for U-turn, but he actually goes for the Iron Head, and I was really tripping about that because he would have just he really was risking himself to go back to half HP from his Jirachi. And that was pretty risky when he had his Tangrowth still, or even his, like, you know, it was pretty risky. He did have a perfect switch into it, but, like, you know, him risking it was a little strange to me because Jirachi is definitely his win con at that point. But he did end up going for the Iron Head, and he got rewarded for it with the flinch, and that sucked because him going back up to full was huge because I had no way to for sure deal with Jirachi 100%. I had to get it worn down or get a nasty plot up with my Thundurus to have a chance. So bit of a pickle here, but I do have a chance still. So of course we both go down there, or he turns out, I should say, Ninetales goes down, or my Mew goes down, I should say. So bring in my Hariyama on his Cloyster because Cloyster had the free switch in, and I do go for the CC, going down to -1 defenses. And here I just click it again because I feel like if I'm able to get Tangrowth low, even if I were to go down, Thundurus hit the free nasty plot. So that's kind of the goal with that. And he actually makes a double into his Jirachi, expecting Ninetales, I assume. And that CC damage puts me right back to where I wanted to be. Jirachi being low, potentially in Foul Play range, or at least a Thunderbolt range from my Thundurus, which is huge for me. Getting Jirachi low was perfect. And here he actually goes for the U-turn when you probably could have went for Iron Head there, which was a little interesting to me for sure. But he was most definitely probably expecting a switch on my end, I assume. and I'm able to get off another close combat onto his Tangrowth. And here, after these couple of close combat turns, I felt Thundurus was a safe play now. Thundurus probably could have been a safe play prior to as well, because the only way you can really hit Thundurus is with the Rock Slide, because we already saw his Assault Vest. So he's not like Spore, or I guess Sleep Powder is what they run. They don't get Spore, but so like, you know, I wasn't really worried about that. So he does go for the Giga Drain, does relatively no damage to my Thundurus, and now I'm free to click my Hidden Power Flying and knock out his Tangrowth from here, because the Assault Vest has been knocked off. And of course I am running a pretty strong Thundurus, and of course it's Stab as well, so we do pick up the KO on the Tangrowth, which is opening the door once again for my Thundurus, which is pretty huge. So here he goes into his Cloyster, and back to, you know, 2 weeks ago to where he could be Scarf, but Lightning does not strike the same place twice. He was definitely not going to be Scarf again, so I do go for the Thunderbolt. He does live with his Sash, so he does have the Sash here, as he does make the right play and go for the Icicle Spear. So my Thundurus does go down. You know, it was a huge play. Like, I had to stay in because, you know, I just had to. Like, I sacked Thundurus off. I know I was talking about it being the win con, but at this point, my real win con is my Ninetales, because if I'm able to get that foul play roll, or of him being in range, I can win the game with Ninetales here on the spot. So I do bring in my Ninetales now, and I do pick off this Cloyster with my my Moonblast here, expecting, you know, in case you want to go in the Jirachi, it would 100% be in range of the foul play after no matter what his set was. So Cloyster does go down, which is huge. You know, being a little bit of annoying, knocking out my Thundurus, but here is the moment of truth. If Jirachi is not running attack investment, it doesn't kill, but if he does have investment, foul play will knock him out, and it does indeed knock out the Jirachi. So foul play coming in huge there, and at this point, as long as I get Heracross extremely low in range of Hail or Vacuum Wave, the game would be over. So do go for the Moonblast here, and Moonblast puts Heracross extremely low. It actually looks like it's knocked out from the capture card view, but I'm not sure why it looks like that, but that's the way it's always been looking at my card. So he actually lived probably on like 1 HP or like 2 HP. So my Ninetales does go down, but Ninetales already did what she needed to do, or Kurama, whatever he needed to do, and he picked up a whopping 4 kills, 2 of those kills being Hail kills. So it wasn't really him directly killing it, but Hail did knock him out. So that was pretty huge there. Heracross going down, and his last spawn being Hydreigon. And at this point, I had to look up if his Z-Crystal holder was Hydreigon. So knowing he was Z-Crystal, I ended up going to my Shield first because I wanted to make sure I didn't lose to like Z-Draco. So I mean, let's go for the Dark Pulse. He got the crit, so you know he's trying to keep it close. You know, I mean the crit wasn't on purpose. I'm just saying it's kind of annoying the crit happened there, but it really didn't matter in hindsight. I'm pretty sure Dark Pulse would have 2-shot anyways, especially with Hail. But I mean, I don't know, probably not. I don't think it could 2-shot it from there, but you know, I get up to Toxic because this allows me to just get it low with Hail and Toxic and all that sort of thing. So here I go for the Liquidation, expecting maybe to live on a low roll or something like that, but do not live, and Sheila will go down. So now it comes down to if he's like a physical, he's not physical, but like if he's like Z-Draco, there's a chance it probably could kill. I actually don't know the calc on this, although I will calc it now that I do mention it. But here, he's got a Prey, doesn't have a Z move, but here he reveals the Z move. But as you can tell from that dance, it actually was Z Earth Power, probably. Now, in the back of my mind, I was a little afraid it would have been Z Z Earthquake. But I'm pretty sure Z Earthquake wouldn't have killed anyway because Hariyama's pretty damn fat. I do have some pretty good defensive investment anyways. So here, the Z Earth Power has to probably get a crit, and it is 166 to 73. We tank that with ease, and Hariyama is able to pick up the final kill, securing the narrow 1-0 victory over Josh and the South Texas Sableyes. So very, very close game. Very, very nice game. Of course, good game. We do redeem ourselves in the rivalry matchup in the league. So we split the league season series 1-1. And it's still a tough matchup. You know, it's definitely some stuff I have to clean up in my next game against them if we play again. I do feel like we probably will cross paths again, unless one of us gets knocked out in the playoffs. If we make playoffs, but you know, on the road we're going to, we probably can and we'll face each other again. But you know, it's going to be very tough to play them again. Like it's really hard to prep for this kind of team. You know, I do my best to build teams that never give him a chance to set up with anything. Because stuff like Heracross, stuff like Cloyster could be a threat. Cloyster isn't really a big deal, but like Jirachi's annoying. Jirachi Hydreigon is, of course, disgusting. Like, it's not broken, but it's frustrating with my team given what I'm running, given what I have. So, but I did learn a lot of things about the team. You know, Ninetales is actually a lot more of a threat than it really appears to be. You know, Thundurus, of course, is always a win con against whatever team he wants to bring because he has no ground type and it's just a threat. You know, in general. Mew can do anything he wants to, so I could definitely come up with a spicy set next time. But ultimately, good game to Josh. It was a great game played. We both made some mistakes. He made some pretty good mistakes there as well. But I got to start trusting my gut in some of the plays I make, because if I had foul played Jirachi earlier in that game, I probably would have had an easier time with Thundurus and all that sort of thing. So do got to play it smart. But nonetheless, good game. We do move to 5-2 on the season. So, you know, we definitely bounce back from our 2 losses, back on track. Next week, we do face off against William Hannon's, coach of the New York Charmanders. I believe he is going to be sitting at 5-2, spoiler from his game. So, it'll be a good matchup. He's definitely a team in the running for the East now. You know, he had a pretty good run last season, and this season, he's definitely making a run, man. He wants to make a deep run, and I look forward to it. So, hopefully, we have a good game next week, and I'll see you all next week for the PGBL week number 8. Go Rangers.